Hi friends, welcome to the Anime Book Club podcast. I'm your host, DJ Montague.
And I'm your host, Greg. And here we review anime from classics to brand new stuff, hidden gems, and controversial favorites.
You'll hear all of our hot takes, rants,
and genius observations. So thanks for tuning in, and buckle up because the episode starts now.
By the way, friends, these episodes contain spoilers, so be careful and don't ruin this anime for yourself. You've been warned.
I have to do an intro.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready?
Yeah. 20 full seconds of dead air.
Intro time is here. We're going to do an intro right now. And
Are you looking at more notes?
An intro. No, I'm just kind of killing. I just procrastinate. All right, here we go. Intro. Welcome, everyone, to the Anime Book Club podcast. I am your host, large, procrastinating D, not good at intros, but it is my turn, and we have to do things in life that we don't like doing sometimes.
Sometimes.
Which are intros for me. And joining me is our other host. This is where you say your name.
Hi, I'm DJ Montague. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you or hear you.
And today, we are going to talk about anime in the form of Ranma 1/2.
Mm-hmm.
Episodes 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Our Lord and Savior, Demon Lord 2099.
Oh, yeah.
Episodes 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk about some Bleach. 1,000-Year Blood War, episode 2 and 3 of part 3, or if you're keeping track, episodes 28 and 29 of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc.
Mm-hmm.
And then some Dan to Dan.
Yeah,
we only have one episode. Episode 3 of Dan to Dan, we will talk.
Yeah, episode 4 comes out tomorrow. Episode 5 next week. So for the next episode of the podcast, we will have both 4 and 5 for Dan to Dan. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming here and hanging out with us. We appreciate you being here. Hopefully you had a wonderful anime 2 weeks. Greg, what were you up to?
I was gorging myself.
Yeah, you went crazy.
Anime. And any ReZero people out there, I'm probably just the Archbishop of Gluttony because I am just consuming massive amounts of anime.
Mm-hmm.
Some good, some bad.
So is ReZero the bad?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, but no. Uzumaki's wrapped up now.
Yep.
So we're going to have a cool episode about Uzumaki.
Yeah, we've got a really cool idea.
Danmachi's still doing its thing. Dan to Dan's doing its thing. 365 Days to the Wedding, still doing its thing. And I love it. I think it's very cute. I think it's a really nice rom-com.
Oh, is that your Chainsaw Man shirt?
It is. It's one of them.
That's sick. It's a sick shirt.
Yeah, ReZero, man. That's just, for me, it's just a slog. I just hover over that skip 30-second button, and I'm like, man, is this going to be the day that I click it? Is this going to be the day that I skip 30 seconds of this and I don't have to watch it?
It doesn't matter.
You got Maids. You have Ranmas, you have Bleaches, you have Goodbye Dragon Lives, and Hello Human Lives, and Demon Lord Lives, and 2.5 Dimensional Seduction Lives.
Oh, is that one show that Pinky was posting up screenshots of with the dragon milk?
Yeah, the milk's gotten out of control.
Oh, okay.
Having the milk from the grown cow lady is okay. I mean, she is the saint of the whole city because apparently everyone is just fucking chugging lady cow milk. Mug after mug, can't get enough. And she's just like, oh man, you need more? Don't worry about it. Let me just go into the back. And they're just like glass after glass, just pounding it. And then to me, they just went like a little, I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know if it's too far. I'll let the viewers decide. But yeah, when their daughter comes out and is like, oh, hey, I made my first glass of milk. Will you try it? And I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to be drinking like underage cowgirl milk. That's what I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. That made me like just a little bit uncomfortable. Even though I know, you know what, good for her that she wants to follow in his mother's footsteps and someday take over, you know, the milk tavern of Varun or wherever they're at and be able to provide for the villagers there, just like her mother. So that is good. It is good that she has dreams and aspirations. And you know what? She was very nervous and anxious,
Greg,
to have someone else try her underage cowgirl milk.
Yeah, We don't need to talk about this. You know that.
I know, but I am. We don't have to, but I'm doing it.
Doing it for the people.
Goodbye, Dragon Life. Yeah.
Okay. Onward and upward. How are you feeling about the main 4 that we're talking about today?
Onward, upward, and downward, because we are talking about Bleach today.
God damn, dude. No, zero spoiler. How are you feeling about Ranma?
I like it. Staying true to the source material. And there's one scene in particular that I remembered from the old version when I was a kid. And we can go over that. But
okay.
It was weird. It was some weird like deja vu moment. Like when I saw it in the episode, I flashed back to my childhood. And I was like, holy shit. I remember this exact moment in time when I saw this.
Excellent. How are you feeling about Demon Lord?
Demon Lord 2099. I think it's a fun, I don't know what to call it. I feel like it's a little bit like I Parry Everything. It's kind of like a fun comedy that I feel like will have some serious adult themes, but also be silly at the same time.
I think it's gonna be rom-com-y at some point, because like, I mean, it's silly. It's very silly, and that's what I like about it so far. It's not what I thought it would be at all whatsoever. Not even close.
Same here, but I'm not mad.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it. I think it's fun so far.
Cyberpunk settings are always just a joy for me. I don't know what it is, man. I love that 80s style futuristic
Blade Runner.
Yeah, it's the best. How are you feeling about Bleach? You can just
Bleach,
make fart noises. Is fine. Whatever, Greg.
Bleach is doing what Bleach does best, which is just giving you the power scaling whiplash and proving that nothing actually matters.
How are you feeling about Dan to Dan?
It's great.
I will pretty much agree. I don't think Bleach is that bad, but I understand the power scaling weirdness. Like, I think back to old Bleach, and you have the Gote 13, and like you kind of think they're on all the same level, and you're like, oh man, like what is the difference in power? It's all like 1 to 2%. And then you like realize that like some of them are just like infinitely better at anything than another character, just for arbitrary, like for plot. And it's literally just their plot devices.
That's the problem, I feel like.
Like there's no real strength. Like you can't actually quantify it, because whoever needs to, it's like Batman. At no point is Batman supposed to lose unless the writer decides that Batman loses, because he's the world's greatest detective, or the universe's greatest detective. In some, it's like that. So I always think that it's interesting how much plot armor comes into these shows now. Let's get right into it. Spoilers. You ready, Greg?
Yeah.
I'm putting on the tag. Greg, we will start with Ranma.
With Ranma, we pick up with Gendo, and Gendo's basically like, you know what, Ranma, we're going to be here for a bit. You should probably go to school and learn something.
Also get married.
Yeah, and also get married.
Yeah.
So basically, he's forcing him to get married, forcing him to go to school. And then Nabiki is like, you know what, Akane, you should walk to school with your fiance.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're just like, no, I hate walking and I hate fiancés.
Yeah.
But they do end up walking together. They lay some ground rules where they're just like, you don't know me, I don't know you, we're complete strangers. Don't fucking talk to me.
Don't fucking look at me. I swear to God.
Ranma is just like, I don't like violent women. That's what you are, Akane. All you do is punch shit.
Ranma's basically negging her the whole time.
Ranma was saying he doesn't like violent girls. Gendo rolls up and tells Ranma that he'd never have his pick of women. And then Ranma throws Gendo into the river and he transforms into the panda.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they start kung fu fighting. And then Ranma just like, flash kicks him Guile style into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
And then now Gendo's gone. That's it. And then some old lady is literally like, washing the ground.
Yeah.
Flashes Ranma with some water. And then, there he goes. He's in girl form now.
Yeah.
As he's in girl form, we meet one of our first new characters, Dr. Tofu.
Yeah.
Who then sneaks up on Ranma with his skeleton, Betty, and scares him. And Ranma's like, holy shit, this guy's fucking strong. How did he sneak up on me? I didn't even realize he was there. This guy must be fucking wild.
Yeah.
But then that's when we kind of see how Akane reacts to Dr. Tofu as well, because now she's more soft-spoken. She's blushing. She just reacts way different. And Ranma's just like, hey, I thought you hated like all men. Dr. Tofu's a man. So why don't you hate that dude? But then they get to school. And then this is when we kind of get the interaction of all of the dudes
Yeah.
just like bum rushing Akane
Yeah.
and try to stop her from like getting into school. And Ranma's like, what the hell is going on here? And Akane is like, don't worry, I got this.
This is normal. This happens every day.
She just starts fighting all of these guys. And then Nabiki just yells from the school window. It's just like, hey, yo, Ranma, don't worry about it. Just come into school. She'll take care of it. But as she's fighting, we get, in my notes, our first glimpse of Tuxedo Mask, where we have Takawaki coming out with like the rose in his mouth.
Yeah,
totally. He's just like, if they best her in combat, then they get to ask her out on a date. Yeah. So that's why all these dudes are just like fighting. And then, you know, their fucking gang leader comes out. From there, Ranma jumps down.
Yep.
Is just like, what the hell's going on here? And then Takawaki is like, hey, yo, don't talk to her like that. That's way too casual. And then from there, they have their own little tiff. And Tatawaki says it's only proper to introduce yourself before a fight. And he's the undefeated Kendo champion of Class 2E.
Blue Thunder.
Of the Kendo Club. Yeah. With the nickname Blue Thunder.
What a banger name, though. Like, if you walked into a room and you're like, look, hey, guys, I'm Greg. They call me Blue Thunder. So if you want to call me by my nickname, that's cool. I get it. But my name's Blue Thunder.
Ranma says he lives at the same dojo as Akane. And then he's just like, what? You talk to her and you live with her? It's like, no, we can't have this. So then they fight.
Yeah.
You know, Ranma's doing his thing, just kind of being an evasive guy. And then he's dodging all the attacks. And he gets into Tatewaki's face. And it's just like, Akane's not cute. I don't like her at all. Don't fucking ever say that shit to me again.
Just backing him up, too. He's like walking at him, like right in his grill. Ridiculous.
From there, he basically more or less...
Technically, they are a draw.
They are a draw. But it does start to rain. And then Gendo just comes out of nowhere and grabs Ranma and just throws him into like the PE building.
Yeah.
The rain changes him into a girl. So then he had to get hot water. So he changes back into a dude. But then that's when Akane points out that like, hey, yo, he actually hit you. So technically it's a draw. And then he had like some bruise on his neck or something. Like that. But then from there, Nabiki tells Takawaki that Akane is engaged to Ranma. And then he gets even more mad.
Blows his mind.
She fights with Takawaki every day. And she says yes. And she always beats him somehow.
Yeah, but he says he's undefeated, which is stupid because he's undefeated by dudes is what they imply later. But like, if you get your ass kicked every morning by Akane, you're not undefeated. And
then Ranma continues with this whole like, violent girls aren't cute. And then she's like, hey, yo, you want to make it a girl on girl fight? And she like threatens him with some water. But then Takawaki beats her to it.
They get thrown out of class too because they're late.
He tries to throw water on Ranma. And then he's like, you know what? I'm never going to forgive you. Let's fucking go. And then they try to fight. And Ranma's like, hey, let's jump out this window and let's fight outside like men.
Yeah.
And then he just like backflips out this window and it's like, oh no, the pool is under there. So then if you know, you know, everyone's like, oh damn, that was a really dumb move.
Everybody from the Tendo Club. When he falls in the pool, he's got like the rock on. I don't know what that means in Japan, but the horns. But he's just like falling straight down with the horns. And when like Ranma's under the water, he's just like, dude, I literally like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to come up for air at some point. I'll just carry this dude under me and then fucking throw him by his neck onto the land and then front flip out of here.
Before he front flips out of there, he's hiding underneath him. But then he grabs Ranma's boob. And then Takawaki's just laying there. He's like, no, that was a girl.
I grabbed a titty right there.
Yeah, 100%. I know what a boob feels like, and that wasn't a man's boob. But then Ranma's hiding. Akane finds him.
Yeah. In a tree.
Why would you jump into the fucking pool? You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And then she was like, dude, you got to change back. So she brings him hot water. Before Ranma uses it, Tatewaki's on the prowl. Yeah. He's like, I touched a boob. That was a girl. Where's this girl that I touched?
Yeah.
And then good girl Akane jumps on the grenade. She's just like, hey, yo, Takawaki, no. You know what? Like, you want to fight? I'll fight you. Like, I challenge you to a duel. And Ranma's just too slow. He can't grab the water fast enough and pour it on him.
No.
Takawaki was like, hey, have you seen this boy, Ranma? He's a piece of shit. He's not a man, and he sucks.
And he's a coward.
And then Ranma in girl form, challenges him to a duel. Girl Ranma kicks him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, Tatewaki issues a challenge to Ranma via Nabiki. And Nabiki's like, I don't know what this shit is, man. Fucking this guy just gave it to me. Hands it to Ranma. And Ranma's like, okay, I got this. He shows up to the location of the issued challenge.
Expecting a fight. And shows up as a woman.
And then he's like, hey, yo, where's your Boken? Fuck, I thought you were the kendo champion. And he's like, I don't need a sword for this. And he just pulls out a dozen roses, hands them to Ranma, and then just walks off.
Yeah, that was an episode. I had a good hearty chuckle a lot of the times in that episode because it's just like fun, stupid stuff happening. It's like a sitcom. It's just situational comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed all the roses. I enjoyed him giving the roses to Ranma, saying that he likes him, and then turning and just walking off.
Yeah.
Into the sunset.
Ranma
just doesn't know what to do.
You can't stick around for an answer. You gotta like show you're mysterious. He obviously knows the Riz, as the kids say. He's the Riz Lord.
He does know the Riz, and he has more Riz in episode 3.
Oh yeah.
So episode 3 starts. Ranma has the nightmare of just Takawaki just professing his love to him.
Also in Hokuto no Ken style like animation.
But yeah, so they go to school again, have to fight off all the suitors again. We have Tatewaki with the stuffed panda as a gift. And Nabiki thinks it's for her. And she's like, I don't want this shit, and just fucking throws it. And he's like, no, bitch, that's not for you. That's for female Ranma. This is the scene that I remember from when I was a kid. Where Nabiki literally just lays out the spread of voyeur pics. Of like Ranma in girl form. And it's like, hey, yo, 3,000 yen for a set of 5. You want this?
Yo, $30, dog. I got your back right here.
And I remember distinctly, I'm like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did she get these pictures? Like, you're just taking pictures of a sleeping
yeah, 100%.
Girl, dude?
100%.
Of course, Takawaki's like, give me that set.
Look.
3,000, that's nothing.
Collector's item.
Nabiki is just like, oh man, that was fast. Like, you moved away from Akane. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And she thought that he was just going to play them both. And he had to clarify. He's like, no, I'm not going to play both. I'm going to get both. I'm going to date both of them to the fullest and give them both 100% of myself. And then that's when Nabiki throws down the voyeur set of Akane. And it's like, oh, you need the collector's photos of Akane too? 4,000 for a set of 5. And he's like, oh shit, I'll take them. Of course I'll take them. So now he has full set of girl Ranma pics, the full set of Akane pics.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Nabiki has Ranma in man form and Takawaki meet. So he can give the panda gift to Ranma and tells him to give up on female Ranma. He's like, dude, just give up on her. Ranma has her body and soul. And he's like, I will never give up. But then as Ranma's walking away, he gets water dumped on him by accident from some kids cleaning shit from like the second story.
He also says you'll never see her again, ever.
Literally sees her like 5 seconds later.
Yeah,
Takawaki's like, I missed you so much, and goes straight for the hug. And then Ranma's like, man, get the shit out of here. Nabiki pours hot water on him and changes him back. And it's like, see, look, see?
Isn't that while he's in his arms? Yeah.
And then he's like, see, look, Ranma's a girl and Ranma's a guy. Yeah. And Takawaki is like, I'm not going to fall for your tricks, Ranma. Bring her back.
Yeah.
Nabiki tries to tell him to just like, hey, yo, man, give up. Yeah. But he's not having any of it. That's when Ranma kicks Takawaki as boy Ranma. That's when his voyeur pics fly out. Akane is watching. Ranma basically does like a head slide, like upside down, just holding his arms. And then basically upskirts Akane.
Yeah. And he's like, blue looks like shit. Like, your complexion does not look well with that.
But then this is when he kicks Takawaki like the 5 times, like the 5 ghost kicks. Or whatever.
He gives him the Chun-Li, the face.
And then Nabiki admits like, oh, I had the side hustle going. And then Ranma said that Akane was playing.
Ranma had the pictures in his pocket.
You got to learn how to be more sexy like me.
Banger line.
And then she busts him up. And then that's when we find ourselves at Dr. Tofu. Mm-hmm. So we're now at Dr. Tofu's. We see the chiropractor. And he asks, like, who did this to you? And Ranma's like, it's the plain Jane. She did it. And then she just flips him back.
Throws him into the wall.
Dr. Tofu heard of the engagement. But he said, you know what? You guys are still kids. And don't worry about it.
Just live life.
And then he fixes Ranma. And then as they're leaving, Dr. Tofu tells Ranma, you know what, be good to Akane. She's a good girl. And she's a big softie. And he goes ahead and he just gives him the old, like, you know, sports slap on the ass. Go out there and be something.
Oh, yeah.
As they're walking out, Ranma's teasing Akane again. And she reacts a little bit differently. But then Ranma's legs give out. And Ranma's like, oh shit, like Dr. Tofu played me, dude. He fucking hit my back. And now my legs don't work. And then Akane has to give Ranma a piggyback ride back home. But Ranma's like, dude, you can't do that for a guy. Like, a girl can't give a piggyback to a dude. So then she just douses him with some water and is like, if it's two girls, then it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically from there, Gendo's like, I have a part-time job now.
Working for Dr. Tofu, right?
In panda form. Kasumi asks Ranma and Akane if they can stop at Dr. Tofu's because she borrowed a book and was like, can you return this? And Akane's like, sorry, I can't do that today.
You do it yourself, bitch. I fucking hate you. I'm leaving.
And Ranma was like, oh, why don't you return the book? It's a good opportunity to talk to Dr. Tofu. And she's like, no, we got to get out of here. So she drags him to school. And Ranma's like, man, why you so up about Dr. Tofu? But as they get to school, all the dudes that attack Akane band together. And they all agreed that they approve of her engagement. So they're not going to fight her anymore.
Yeah.
But not Takawaki. He comes out and says that he won't be stopped.
You will have them both.
And there's a rumor that Ranma beat him.
It's bullshit, dude. Everybody lied. Like, I didn't lose. I am really cool.
And he just has like the kick marks all over his face.
Yeah.
Ranma jumps out and he's like, no, man, Ranma beat you fair and square. He's still in girl form. So Takawaki is like all over.
Yeah.
And then Ranma tries to pull a fast one. He's like, hey, yo, I thought you liked Akane, but you're all over me. Like, what are you doing playing her? And Akane is like, oh, I'll just bow out.
Yeah.
You go ahead and just take him. But then he's like, no, I'm going to have both you. But then it kind of fast forwards later. Ranma's talking with some of the boys, doing exercises, just flipping around. And everyone's like, holy shit. Then afterwards, they're like, hey, yo, how far you go with Akane? He's like, what do you mean? Oh, you know, like you
guys are smashing, right? 100%.
Nah, tell us all about it, man. You don't got to be shy. You get dirty. But then, as the boys are talking, the girls are playing softball or baseball, some bat and ball sport. And as Akane is up to bat, Ranma looks at her differently. And it's like, oh, maybe she is kind of cute. And as while he's thinking that, she hits a power ball and literally just smashes his face in.
Yeah.
So we find ourselves at Dr. Tofu's again. And Gendo's there as his part-time job, serving tea and hanging out. But Akane says she's just going to go home. And Ranma again is just like, why don't you stay, man? This is a great place to be because Dr. Tofu's there and you like Dr. Tofu.
And you love him.
But she pulls him aside and it's like, no, he is someone that he likes already. And we find out that it's Akane's sister, Kasumi, is the one that Dr. Tofu likes.
And he turns into a bumbling idiot when Kasumi shows up.
So he's literally adjusting Ranma's neck.
Yeah.
Kasumi walks in and he just like breaks his neck. Yeah. He just literally just like turns it sideways and then just forgets where he is, forgets what he's doing, forgets that Ranma's even a patient.
And then snaps his neck the other way. He's like, dude, you gotta fix my neck.
They make it home. Ranma's neck is still like sideways. And he sees Akane and she's just breaking cinder blocks. Obviously sad about the Dr. Tofu thing and her sister being Dr. Tofu's main squeeze. So they spar, help Akane release some steam. And then during the sparring, Ranma tells her to smile some more because she looks cute when she smiles. That's episode 2 and 3 with Ranma turning into a nice story.
Yeah.
The two of them not liking each other and then growing to like each other.
How many seasons did Ranma run for originally? I thought it was just, you know, it's adorable. But you can see the contrast in a lot of the different art styles that they use. Like I was saying before, the beginning of the episode looking like Hokuto no Ken, and like this part of the episode that I have on screen looking almost like Studio Ghibli, where it's a lot of warm lighting and almost like softer. They did a really, really good job.
Yeah, so in terms of seasons, I don't know if they did seasons back then, but there's 161 episodes of Ranma.
God damn.
And then they do have the OVA, which was 6 episodes. But if I remember right from what someone else said, like they're kind of speeding up the Ranma story for this remake.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it so far. It is kind of like a nostalgia for me. Probably if you're like a brand new anime watcher and you're watching Ranma, it may seem I think maybe like a little slower than, another shonen anime that you could watch.
Mhm.
But I think Ranma has some, especially with this new one, like the animation I think is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think it just has a bunch of silly comedy stuff. And same, their idea of mild nudity is the,
Just
Ken
no
and
nips.
Barbie style of no nipples. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ranma, good time.
100%. Like, I'm thoroughly enjoying Ranma as just like a remake. It pays good homage to the original source material, the hairstyles, like all of it's just it's really, really well done. And I enjoy it. I'm having a good time. Greg, how are you feeling?
It's good. And another one that I enjoy is Demon Lord 2099.
Oh, baby. I'm going to try and do a quick rundown of Demon Lord. I've got my notes here and I'm going to try and run through like all of the kind of comedy stuff that happens and summarize 2 episodes as quick as possible so we can get to the meat and potatoes of the episode, which is obviously Bleach and Dan to Dan. The beginning of the show starts off with our Demon Lord boy, Veltol, Velvet Velsvault. And I hate that name because why? And Graham, who is the hero that defeats Veltol 500 years prior in 1599?
1599. Of the continental area, the 12th day of the month of July.
Yes, because he is reborn on the exact 500 years. But they are on the world of Elnath or Alnath? Naeth?
Yep.
Alnath. So basically, he gets defeated. Veltol's like, I'll be back, dude. I'm fucking immortal. I'll see you in the future. And Graham's like, I'll fucking see you. I'll be there, bitch. And then we get the intro, which I wasn't a big fan of either episode's intro so far. And we see the first of the 6 dark peers, which is Machina Soleil, which is Veltol's probably like, I would say, closest companion. Machina is there when he wakes up exactly 500 years later. And he is like immediately like, all right, dude, let's get up. This city looks kind of crazy. We're 500 years in the future. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, pick up where we left off.
Let's take over. Let's get this shit rolling. I gotta kill humanity or whatever. Dons his armor and let's get back to doing hood rat shit. Shoots Del Stunna, the Stunna into the air, and Machina's like, wait, bro, don't do that shit. And you just immediately hear the cops and everybody looks around and is like, this dude's a fucking idiot. Like, what is this guy doing? Machina's like, let's get the fuck out of here. We got to run. So they run away. She's like, dude, you can't cast grand level magic in the city. And he's like, dude, what are all these rules? I'm the fucking demon lord, bro. Like, I'll do whatever I want. Where are my disciples? What happened? What the fuck is going on? She's like, okay, well, they're all scattered or dead. We don't really know. May, Silwald, Ralsheen, Zenol, Machina, who is actually accounted for, and then Marcus. He asks about Marcus. She glazes over it. She's like, anyways, let's go get some food. You're probably hungry or something. The fucking peace out. And you look on the wall, and there's like advertisements for VTubers. Fucking hilarious. And then you see a girl, the redhead or red stripe of hair, black hair. She's like, you know what? I'm going to hack some shit. And he, our boy DL, as I now have called him for Demon Lord. You get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm tracking.
So DL looks over and he can see Aether in the air and sees her like hacking the screen with Aether. He was kind of explained that people can cast magic and incantationless magic at this point a little bit, but he doesn't really understand until later with the Familia. But she is hacking the screen, puts on porn on the screen, and it all gets blurred out, like heavily blurred out. And he's like, dude, this is crazy. Well, hey, do you know where this dude named Marcus is? And she's like, how did you see me do that? He's like, I could see Aether. It's chill. Anyways, do you know where Marcus is? And she points him in a direction, and he finds Marcus at IHMI, Ishimaru Heavy Magic Industries. Goes in there, and he's like, yo, I'm looking for Marcus. And there's this cute little pink thing. It's like their mascot. And then Marcus's assistant or secretary, Kinohara, comes downstairs and is like, hey, Marcus has been expecting you. And he's like, fucking sick. Let's get to it. They go in the elevator. He's like asking a little bit about what's going on. And they get up to the elevator. you find out that Marcus is like, I don't give a shit about what you're here doing. I have made the Familia, which is the way that people, all humans and all different species, are now able to cast magic. Incantationless magic, just summon fireballs or whatever they need to do. Fucking use the wind to cut up food. It basically makes the entire world easier in a cyberpunk setting. Like everyone's life is just much easier. So everybody's ambition or requirement is to get this thing implanted in their neck, including Machina having one. Marcus also says, I was never able to cast magic, so this is why I did this. Basically, go fuck yourself. And he's like, bro, you know I'm DL. I will beat your ass right here, bro. Right here in front of God and the city. And Marcus is like, I don't think you know what neighborhood you're in. Fucks him up. Straight fuck. Kinohara actually also gives him a slash on the hand, which should have apparently healed instantly, but doesn't. Takes like a second to heal. So that lets Marcus know that he's so weak that it doesn't matter. Blasts his ass out the window and then explodes blood swords in his body because, you know, get fucked, DL. He falls down to the street, is like sitting there. He's like, dude, what? How did I just get beaten up by Marcus? And then stands up and bumps into a dude. And dude's like, hey, you need to apologize. And homeboy DL is like, do you know who I am? Did you not read the flyer? Did you not get the memo? I'm fucking DL, dude. And proceeds to get his ass kicked by this dude too. And then I wrote down DL just taking L's all day. Machina takes him home to her apartment, which is this scene right here. I've got the screenshot of it. And it's outside of town, and he's like, "Oh man, you started working on getting a castle together. It's a little dilapidated, but I mean, we could fix it up. I've worked with fixer-uppers before." And she's like, "Nah, dude, that's not what's going on." And then so they go upstairs, and he's like, "Oh, this is a great closet. This is sick. We could put our clothes in here." And she's like, "This is where I live, dude. This is my whole apartment." And you get like a real moment with our boy DL. And he's like, you live here? Like, my girl, my disciple, Machina, lives here. And he grabs her by the head and puts his head to her chest. And he's like, I'm still going to do this shit. We're going to get wild up in here. I'm taking over the world, but I'm going to get a job. And she's just like, it's a heartwarming moment, giving you like a real situation. Obviously, like, it's kind of funny most of the time. You expect like the demon lord to be like, you need to go get another job so that I can start working on taking over the world. But instead, he's like, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to take care of my baby. You know what I mean? And that's great. Good on him.
I like that interaction.
Yeah.
I like that he saw that what she did for him.
Yeah.
Basically, for 500 years, she was trying to resurrect him.
Mm-hmm.
She finally resurrects him. He thought that he was just going to pick up where he left off.
Yeah.
And then now he sees like she basically sacrificed everything just to bring me back.
Yeah.
Like, okay, your loyalty has been burned into me, is what he said. But I also want to point out.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
On the train, he laid on her lap. Good old fatal frame lap laying.
Yep.
Happens here too.
Is that like a regular thing in Japan? Like that's a fantasy or what?
I looked it up.
Okay.
It does have to do with, I guess like matronly comfort, I guess. So it's like something mothers did, and I guess it's like a consoling thing. It's like a comfort thing. Or men, and I guess like this kind of goes back to
toxic
like an older I guess kind of actually, because it goes to like an older Japanese story called The Tales of Genji, where Genji is basically like, he's just a player. He's just running around. He has like 20 different wives or whatever, and they all have their different personality traits. But the one that he ends up liking the most and like being with is the one that has like the matronly traits, and he does do the lap pillow thing with her. Okay. So I think it is kind of like a cultural thing where that lap pillow is like a sign of she's taking care of her man. And that's the translation, I guess.
And we get to see that at the beginning of episode 2. She wakes up, she starts cooking him breakfast. Oh, we do like a flashback where Machina is about to get murdered in the past, and she's about to get thrown into molten lava. We can assume from her, like, probably tribesmen or like village villagers.
Yeah, I think she actually had the One Ring, and they were like, "We need to destroy this thing."
Oh fuck.
They were in Mordor,
Yeah.
and they were gonna toss her in because she
Yeah.
had the ring. But
Yeah.
then our boy DL swoops in to save the
Yeah, just uses whatever magic that is. I'm now a safety ball of black goo. Saves her, puts her on land, and is like, "Yo, you're an immortal, and you're kind of cute, so I'm gonna help.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Give me your body and your soul." And she's like, "Okay, sounds good."
She's like, "Tight. That's pretty cool. Thumbs up to that." I didn't feel like dying anyway. Also, that would have sucked being immortal and also just burning in lava forever. Oh, one of the more important things that I literally skipped over, I feel really bad about this. Sorry, friends. 80 years ago, there was the Fantasia, which Earth and Alnath have collided, and 90% of the population was destroyed. And this is kind of what's left. And magic and technology have been incorporated into each other to progress the world forward. And that's where we are with the 2099 cyberpunk style. So DL wakes up, Machina makes breakfast, total trad wife shit. They eat breakfast, and then you get to the intro, and it's a different intro this time from the first one, where like it's the actual real intro from what I assume from here on out. And you see Graham in the intro. You saw Graham for like a brief second, or maybe Graham, but looked like a girl in the beginning of, or like the middle of episode 1. But like this was the first time I was like, okay, Graham is alive 100%.
Like he was just in an alley in the slums, and someone had like the Graham cloak with a sword, like sitting in the corner, disheveled.
Not only that, you see Graham walking through the crowd, and it's very, very poignant, like very apparent. But Machina talks about how immortals have been disappearing recently, and the Demon Lord's power is tied to his faith. That's why he's not feeling super hot and can't do all his grand magic at a ridiculous scale. And he's like, yeah, that's why I didn't just like blow a hole in the sky and remove all the clouds. I would have done that with my normal power. I don't like that personally. Like faith-based power is annoying.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, is he fucking Santa Claus?
Yeah.
His power is deteriorating, and Machina says that no one believes him anymore.
Yeah,
and that's why the power of faith is.
He's a fucking tooth fairy, dude. Like, anyways, so they decide that his armor's not gonna fly in the future, and he should probably be a little more inconspicuous. They go get the Demon Lord's new clothes.
I think they call it the drip.
They drip him out. He is moisturized, dripping so much.
Shit.
So they go get him some new clothes. He's like, I don't give a fuck about these clothes. I'll walk around naked. I don't give a shit, dog. And she's like, no, they don't deserve to see your royal body. They don't deserve that. So they get him clothes. He's like, all right. They get him like a tracksuit.
Adidas tracksuit, and then he gets some kanji on his shirt.
Yeah.
That says Demon Lord. They get him his fly threads, and then they go eat. He asks Machina about the Familia and Marcus's treachery aside. He mentions it's like a revolutionary device. So he does see the value in the Familia. He's not just like, this thing is replacing me, it's trash. And then he examines her Familia on the back of her neck. She doesn't hate it. She actually likes it. But then from there, they head back home. Machina's like, you don't need to get a job. I'll pick up some more shifts. I'll get 2 or 3 more jobs. And he's like, nah. And this is what I really like. He was like, times have changed. I'm not omnipotent.
Yeah.
And I need to change with them. I'm not going to let you work by yourself and provide for me. I'm going to get my own job. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was silly because as she's saying all this stuff, there was just another couple that walked by and they're like, dude, this guy's a piece of
fucking
shit.
Deadbeat loser, dude. Fucking loser. He's like, I'm gonna go apply for some jobs. I need to figure this out. And so she's like, here is a little like almost cell phone. It looks like a Zune. Let's be real.
Yeah, an MP3 player. That's what
it's an old MP3 player. So he's sitting and she's like, it's got money on it. You can contact me through it. This is, if you need lunch, I got you.
Yeah, he's just like, thanks, mom.
And then he's sitting on the corner and he's like, dude, this guy's homeless over here with a fucking cardboard sign. This other guy is just like talking to himself. And he's like, I don't know how to find a job. I don't know what to do. Where do I start? You know what I'll do? I will fucking stand up and yell to the entire city that I need a job.
I have no money. I'm poor and I'm homeless.
Yeah. And the guy's like, hey, the guy that was like kind of talking to himself, he's like, hey, dude, you can't fucking do that. This is our territory. He's like, oh, bro, I didn't mean to encroach on your territory. My bad, dog. He's like, here, take this, pulls it out of his fucking, like, his fanny pack and hands it to him. And it's a fucking resume. And he's like, fill this out with like what your past history of work history is and go to the whatever guild and you'll be able to get
the commercial office. Yeah.
You'll be able to get a job. He then goes to this guild. He's interviewing with this guy. And the guy's just like, so you wrote here that you were a strategic commander? And he's like, oh yeah, dude, hand me an army. I'm gonna do some sick shit with it, dude. You won't even fucking believe it. I am fucking genius level with an army. He's like, I even made my own spell. It's called Del Stunna. It's sick. Have you seen it? I could do it. I'll do it right now. And the guy's like, okay.
He's like, no, I'm good. And then he's like, have you heard of the Battle of Orbel in 732? Yeah. Like, that was me. That's one of my proudest moments.
Literally 1,500 years ago. 1,500 fucking years ago. He's like, dude, I did that whole thing. It was super sick. You should have seen it. Like, you don't know about that? And he's like, you also wrote here Kingdom Commander? He's like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking sick at that. Agriculture, whatever you need. I'm dope. And the guy's like, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be a no from me, dog.
Yeah, he's like, your last job was 500 years ago.
Yeah. And we're just not going to hire you. You also need a familia, so you might want to go get one of those. One of the sticking points was that he can't have a familia. That was the whole point of why Marcus created it. He's an ethereal being, and ethereal beings cannot have familias. Basically, Marcus has planned this whole thing out to make DL look like a bitch, and DL is not happy.
He basically put DL's power into a chip, and now everyone can do what DL did. So now he's just a normal guy.
Yeah, he's a regular old dude. So he goes back, and Monken is like, dude, that sucks that everybody was kind of mean to you. And he's like, yeah, this shit's whack, dude. Like, future sucks. And she's like, I've got an idea. I've got somebody that we can meet. And they go to a bar and they meet up with the girl from episode 1 who was the hacker that hacked the porn onto the TV. She's like, dude, damn, he's hot. That's what's up. Good to see you again. You look great in those clothes. That's really cool of you. You need a job? I think we can figure something out. I don't know. But I noticed in the background of this bar, there's just old shit all over the wall. There's like a remote for a TV. There's a cell phone, like a flip phone from back in the day. There's just like a broken TV. There's like a laptop. There's just tons of shit. He is talking to these two, and we finally learn what her name is. And it's Takahashi. Takahashi is like, I'll help you out, but I think we need to find out what you can do. And looks, and she's like, you're sexy and you got a sexy voice. And looks over at the other TV that's working, and there's a VTuber on TV. And so they're going to make our boy DL into a streamer. And this is, I mean, already banger TV show.
Yeah, it's hitting pretty close to home.
Yeah. My note here says they're going to make him a streamer. God damn it. Big fan. I'm liking 2099. I think it's funny. I think it's silly and like totally not what I was expecting.
They could have very easily made DL like a dick.
They could have made him so unlikable.
They very easily could have made this into like Eminence and Shadow, where like he is just completely oblivious to everyone else around him and he's just doing whatever.
Total sociopath.
But they've really created the character to be more than just the demon lord.
Yeah.
He was the king.
The thing is, wait, hold on. One of the things he does is he interacts with everybody on the level. Like, he doesn't think anyone's like really beneath him. Like, he doesn't treat people like they're beneath him. He's just going along with what's going on. He's like, oh, these are the new rules. Okay, this is what's happening.
He still talks like he's royalty or whatever.
Yeah. But he still has like that like elevated dialogue. But he's not like, you are beneath me. You deserve to be my servant or anything like that. He's just like the homeless guy. He's like, oh, thanks for the resume. That's pretty sick. Thanks. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's not like, oh, you're a street urchin. I think they're doing a great job with this character. It's great. Absolutely.
I'm on board with it. I just like how his character is developing, how he, will kind of be, I don't know. It's really weird because I feel like this is very relatable for me because in this world, he's basically like a boomer, pretty much. He's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah. He's-
cell phones, Instagram. Like, what's this? Like,
we used to call people on a rotary phone.
yeah, we just used to write letters and then we'd put one stamp on them. And stamps back then were 10 cents.
Yeah.
But nowadays,
Yeah.
so it is hitting a little close to home that, you know, he basically has to relearn the world, and the things that made him unique before are no longer unique. And now everyone can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So his incantationless magic, which he was so proud of before, and he was the only one that can do it 500 years ago, everyone can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, they don't even care. Yeah, you're just using it literally to chop up cabbage and to like, you know, cook vegetables and shit. It's not even to like take over the world. You're just casually using magic that the Demon Lord was using 500 years ago to like take over the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the fact that he got knocked down a couple pegs and he's working his way back up, rather than expecting to everyone to just automatically respect him for what he used to be.
Yeah.
And then I think we're probably going to find out that, you know what, the Demon Lord, he's not that bad of a guy. And when he does take over the world, he leads a very nice empire of everyone being treated fairly.
I bet Graham's going to come back and he's going to be like, dude, we had it good under you. My bad. I didn't mean to fucking kill you. That was thank you.
Going to be a resurgence of the old, and they're going to come back and join hands again and then relive the good old days.
Yeah. They're going to be besties. He's going to replace Marcus as his new like homeboy.
But yeah, from there,
we've got our boy Ichigo.
We have our boy Ichigo. He is not the Demon Lord. So here we go. Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, episode 2, part 3 of the arc. So here we flash back to young Huawei. It's hanging out with the Soul King, I guess, and there's babies and stuff, and there's hands coming out of the fucking ground, and some Ichigo's there for some reason, high-fiving, just floating around each other, and then it cuts to everyone.
You keep saying Yahweh.
Yeah, Huawei. He makes the cell phones. Chinese company.
God damn it, Greg. YouYouHagi. What the fuck? Yeah, all right, let it rip.
Cuts to everyone in Soul Society, and the ground is shaking, and everyone is just like, what the fuck is happening here? And then again, with the theme of whiplash that Bleach loves so much, it cuts to the real world. And then Ishigo and Ishida's dads are just kind of like, fucking the ground shaking, and they're just like, damn, our boys must be doing something crazy over there. And then Ichigo and crew finally make it to the Soul King as they're surfing on Inoue's triangle shield of healing / time reversal healing.
One thing, they show them next to him, first of all. And then they show him, or they show them flying upward. So like, they're next to the Soul King. And then like 15 seconds later, they're back to flying back up to the Soul King. And I was like,
I know. And then this is where I'm like, okay, the last episode, like fucking Huawei's walking up some stairs, Ichigo and everyone's like fucking taking a missile elevator or some bullshit. And I'm like, why aren't we just flying from the beginning? But it's okay. It doesn't matter. They're on the fucking surfboard. And then Inoue tells Ichigo, Huawei seems a little bit off. Look at his eyes. Something's going on. Fucking surprise, all of his eyes are just staring at her giant boob window in the center of her fucking clothes that somehow just like, it just keeps getting bigger with every time we see her. He says he can see everything. And the Soul King's future and Ichigo's future and everything, he can just fucking see it all. So Ichigo's, did you fucking see this shit? Double Zanpakuto Huawei, let's see if you can pierce me, bitch. Even though he can literally see in the future, Ichigo is just gonna fucking cross slash.
Getsuga Tensho.
Yeah, Getsuga Tensho. I don't know why Huawei has to defend himself, because he can see into the fucking future. He could literally just teleport away. And Ichibei, he just literally stabbed him, even though fucking Huawei got fucking Bayonetta stomped down to the fucking earth from the heavens. He has to dodge Ichigo for some reason. Ichigo lands some Getsuga Tenshos and blasts Huawei down, tells him it's over, Huawei, give up. And Huawei's like, nope, I'm gonna power up. And now he's just fucking tossing Ichigo around. Oh, I forgot, during this whole thing, they're literally throwing each other into the other platforms of like the Soul King Kingdom,
Yeah.
which are like literally thousands of miles away from each other. They have to take fucking transport to get there.
Yeah.
Again, where it's just like, why even use stairs? Just teleport. But I guess that's okay.
By the way, he uses Getsuga Jishio.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jinsho. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah,
That's the other one that he uses to knock him down. It's the cross.
Sure, but yeah, I don't know how Huawei didn't know that. He saw the future.
Because he has his normal eyes to fight him in the beginning. And then he's like, okay, I've had enough. It's almighty time. And then he goes cross-eyed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Kidding, not kidding, cross-eyed, million eyes, blue eyes, white dragon, tossing Ichigo around. And everyone else is just chilling. They're just literally sitting there and they're just like, damn, like, fuck, this is crazy. Ichigo's down. Huawei descends onto the rest of the crew. And then it cuts back to the other captains and stuff. And they're just fucking talking about things shaking. They're like, holy shit, the ground's shaking. Urahara is like, Quincy's getting wiped out. Didn't fit into the world's rules. Man, I'm gonna make my own rules. Quincy create the new world. Ichibei is mumbling about humans, no chance defeating Huawei, but don't worry because this is how peace is. Captains and stuff go to the lab. Urahara hanging out. Yoruichi is like, hey, let's try to do something. And then they fucking try to pull a fast one on him, but he can see everything, and fuck, his sword is inside the Soul King. He's penetrated the Soul King with his sword, and then Yoruichi is like, oh, Soul King is still alive. Ichigo, ignore first aid 101 and just pull the sword out of him. Just fucking anything you learned in school. It doesn't matter. Just rip that sword out of that fucker. So he just puts both feet onto the fucking Soul King and is just like, stab wound, I got this. Rips the sword out. But then as he rips the sword out, Huawei is like, you triggered my trap card.
Yep, got him.
Mind control. And then now he's like controlling Ichigo's arm or half of his body or something.
It's his blood, his Quincy blood.
Yeah. So, but it only works for his right half. And he's like, you're gonna kill the Soul King.
Got him,
man. And then Inoue's boob window gets bigger. And then from there, Huawei is like, yeah, you are the only one who could do this because you have the blood of fucking literally everything inside of you that was created futures and forever and a day ago.
Yeah.
All the worlds are shaking. Everyone wonders what's happening.
Quincy.
Urahara is like, well, worlds are destroying. Okay, episode 2. We made it through. I thought the animation got better from episode 1.
Yeah.
So I gotta give credit where credit's due.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 2 was more entertaining than episode 1.
One thing that I want to say about Bleach is that the departure from sword fights to Dragon Ball Z style fights is annoying. Like, I didn't watch this show for Dragon. I didn't want to watch YouYouHagi and Ichigo bounce around like asshole. I don't understand.
I guess it was animated fine though. The bouncing.
No, Greg. I'm gonna go back and you can see it on the screen. No, Greg.
I mean, okay. So anyway, so episode 3 starts, and we get some not new characters, but we get new characters for this part 3 arc. We get Ukitake.
He's coming back, baby,
and he's going to replace the Soul King temporarily. So he walks up, fucking strips, takes his sword out, and everyone's like, no, Ukitake, don't do it. He's like, but I must do it. And then it flashes back to when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And his parents were praying to Mimihagi to cure his illness of whatever lung disease. He has. Just when we thought he was dead, the hand-eye Mimihagi thing is washed over him. And Ukitake drank of its tears, and Mimihagi saves his life. He wakes up, and now he is a Genki young kid walking the streets of Soul Society, just occasionally coughing up blood. But pretty normal for kids his age, I would say. I left out the part with the grandma punching and the fucking thug. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Fast forwards to Kyoraku and Ukitake sparring together as young cadets in the Soul Reaper Academy. They're just like, hey man, you're pretty cool. And he's like, you're not too bad yourself.
Yeah. Want to make out about it?
Let's go eat some sweets. Let's just feed each other some sweets. And then
with alcohol in them.
Yeah, I'm going to bring these sweets back to all the orphans. And then Kyoraku didn't tell him. He's like, oh no, silliness ensues. Kids get drunk off of sweets. Montage of their friendship season by season. They just grow together as two men do. Ukitake and takes Kyoraku to the Mimihagi shrine and is like, this is where it all began. And he's like, you know what? The rumors seem to be true of the divine power of the Soul King. It somehow got detached from him. His right arm fell off from the heavens, and now that's what Mimihagi actually is. And, you know, you'd start to believe in... I started to believe it because of you, my boy.
Yeah.
Because of you, I believe in Mimihagi. And Ukitake says that his illness is slowed, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Mimihagi slowed it, but he's still coughing up blood. Fast forward. Hope everyone's holding on, because we're just fucking flying around here. They're both captains. And this is the thing, kind of what you were saying in the beginning. The whole captain thing, right? It's like, okay, you have 13 captains. Why are they captains? Don't know. No one knows, because it's not by power, because everyone's bankais are just fucking F tier. Everyone sucks. You have the Central 46, which is just a bunch of old dudes with fucking claws on their faces that for some reason we all listen to. I don't know why. Well, we fucking listen to these fucks.
To speak on the power scaling.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's arbitrary right now. I mean, I shouldn't say arbitrary. I should say it's inconsequential, because it is the Batman or superhero style plot armor where the writer decides who wins, not by the strength of the character, but by the strength of the story. And so, like, when I first watched Bleach, these two characters were the ones that I was like, okay, I can't wait for them to have their story, like, later on. Like, I'm really excited.
Dual wielding fucking
I love dual wielding. And well, like, Kyoraku is like the cool guy, you know what I mean? And Ukitake is like the smart one.
Oh yeah, he's the one that follows the rules. Kyoraku's the guy. It's like, hey, let's go hang out with ladies.
Yeah. So they were my favorites because, like, also obviously Kyoraku's coat is the sickest shit I've ever seen. But like watching them now, it's just like, I don't really think you did anything with these characters, like anything worthwhile. Because like Ukitake fights in the Huecamundo arc a little bit. He doesn't like fucking style on somebody, you know what I mean? He's just like, they're kind of there. And it's like, you spoiled these characters for me. Because like, so the Gote 13 are basically military branches. Yes, they're supposed to be general. They're supposed to be intelligent, but they all have their rules or their positions in the military. Unohana being the head of, what is it, the medical research now, even though she was obviously the crazy Kenpachi before. You have all these power levels that don't matter at all. Like, we've seen Ichigo go through different scalings and become like captain level to a certain extent by the end of, like, almost Yamamoto level power by the end of like the Sosuke Aizen arc.
Even before that, even in season 3, he beats a captain. He beats Byakuya. He beats the fucking to save Rukia, and everyone's like, yeah, we acknowledge that what you did here. Okay, Rukia is saved.
Right.
So he was already beating captains like at that point.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
But he did have to go berserk. He went into hollow mode. And then it goes into the Huecamundo like kind of arc. We're not counting the Bounto saga or anything like that, obviously, because it's filler. Then he starts like to understand his hollow form and like what goes after that. And then that's like, okay, so you're beating captains. What was the difference between Aizen and what was the difference between Byakuya? We are now watching Aizen be fucking omnipotent at this point. Byakuya just got beat by a kid. Like, where is the rules? And it throws it out the window for me. But I still enjoyed the show as a kid. And I do recognize that the show coming back is still made to a certain extent for kids.
I do have that very sore spot with Bleach because I did really like it, and then it shit all over my affection. And as a young man at that time, like I didn't know that relationships were two ways. I gave it all the affection and it gave me none, but I just kept on giving. And I didn't realize that it wasn't healthy. And then I got hurt.
Okay.
And I think Bleach should have ended after season 3. For the record, should have just stopped. We all could have gone on with our lives. But instead, we have the scene with Kyoraku, Ukitake, and fucking medical captain chick, and they're talking after old man died, and medic chick is just like, hey, yo, Ukitake, fucking, we're both gonna die. See you on the other side, high five.
Yeah.
And then
she's like, I know I'm going out.
They're like, okay, see you on the other side, see you at the crossroads.
So you won't be lonely.
Back to Ukitake chanting at the laboratory, Mimihagi, Mimihagi me, Mimihagi you.
Oh my God, they say it like 50 fucking times in the episode.
And then he gives all of his organs to Mimihagi, and then just fucking literally goes Uzumaki, fucking blast spirals out of his body into a hand. And he's just like, and everyone's just like, oh no, Ukitake, don't Mimihagi, Ukitake.
He Mimihagi'd all over the place. There was so much Mimihagi everywhere.
He's just like literally half hand, half person, just like fucking twitching.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, is he fucking dead? And they're like, no, dude, I think he's still alive. Like while he's alive, he's taking the Soul King's spot, I guess. So just, I don't know, fucking just injecting him with food or something, keep this fuck alive. All right. So Kyoraku during while this is all happening is just like, I'm gonna go talk to Aizen. And then while that's happening, again, Bleach, here we go, fucking rubber band, let's go. Ichigo's fighting Huawei, and Yoriichi is like, hey, you want to try that distraction again? And then comedy relief guy is like, all right, sure, let's try to distract this fuck. Inoue, go ahead and try to put the two halves of the Soul King back together. So we're just gonna run out here with fucking hand puppets and fucking shit and just distract Huawei, and you just take two pieces of a person and stick them back together.
The way it like shifts upward and tries to like reconnect, I thought was really funny.
And then Huawei is just like, oh, you guys are fucking silly. I can see the future. Of course that's not gonna fucking work. Kyoraku releases Aizen's mouth.
Yeah, he's got the 3 keys.
Yeah, I think he releases his mouth, his knees, and his hands, so he can get on all fours. It was his ankles and his left eye. Yeah, you're
his
right.
Ankles and his left eye.
Yep. Yeah, he was walking around anyway, I guess. So like,
yeah, he didn't give a fuck.
Fucking, I guess it just doesn't matter. So he just, whatever. They make some inconsequential comment that like, oh, the other key is in Kyoraku's heart. So like, oh, if he kills him, then he won't get the key and he'll just be locked up forever.
Right.
Even though he could walk around in shit anyway. So I guess it doesn't matter.
I think the point is that he can walk up to the keys. I think that he's locked in that area for like, I don't know, whatever reason. But they also, they bring up the throne and they're like, hey, can you go sit in that? And then you want to breathe the Sorete air, right? Let's go up.
The fucking dude is just like, I have to restrain you, bitch. And then his fingers are just like, oh, my
fucking
hand.
Chopped off and exploded, and it's just blood just shooting out of his hands.
Is this going to drive any point later on? Like, besides the fact that, like, you're, I guess, saying that Aizen's just literally invulnerable because his soul pressure is now surrounded by his body, and
yeah, the blood like doesn't hit his face. And
he's like, hey, you want us to carry you up on this chair and you can breathe some air? And he's like, I don't know, man. Like,
I'm not gonna go fight, but I'll come, I guess, hang out. And it's like, if Kyoraku and Aizen fought right now, does Aizen just shit stomp all of Soul Society? Is that what we're doing here?
I think so. I don't think. Again, right? It's the whole like power scaling thing. It's like, okay, that's cool. Like, Aizen is super powerful, but doesn't want to do anything and just wants to watch the world burn. Huawei is just seeing the future and probably has already seen Aizen, and that's why Aizen probably feels like that Huawei has seen him. So he's like, there's nothing I can do that'll surprise anyone because Huawei sees the future. I don't know, dude. So I mean, that's it. So he's like, hey, Aizen, you want to go breathe some air? And he's like, I'll think about it. There you go, Bleach. We're bleaching.
We're Mimihagaing everywhere. There's so much.
Mimihagi, YouYouHagi, we're going to just Hagi
so
everything.
Much Mimihagi.
Haagen-Dazs. Mimi Haagen-Dazs, vanilla Swiss almond.
Yeah. Or maybe a blizzard where you turn it upside down and they Mimihagi in the cup.
Yeah, but then the blizzard doesn't fall down because
right, the Mimihagi doesn't fall down; it only goes up.
It's so thick and creamy that it won't fall out of the cup. It'll only go up to the Soul King, Soul Society, Dan to Dan. So we're gonna talk about Dan to Dan now.
I just want to say real quick before we go into Dan to Dan that I don't hate Bleach. Okay. I think it's okay at this point. I just think that the power scaling is just so inconsequential. It does not matter. It's just plot devices from this point on. I don't think that the plot is super strong. And I will say that there are two things that are happening right now in the world. So Gege Akutami, the guy who wrote JJK, was like, Bleach inspired me a lot. And now looking at Greg's hatred for both of these shows, I mean, it checks out.
It's not hatred.
I love JJK, and I think Gege went in a very different direction than Bleach does, and also ended the story so far. I don't think we're getting a comeback. The story is done, and the show has started. Bleach, I don't know. I don't really remember, and I didn't look this up. I should, but I don't remember when the 1,000-Year Blood War manga started in comparison to the TV show. It's not bad, but it's also not super great. Bleach has very much jumped the shark. It is.
I kind of clarified it last episode, but I don't. Okay, so when I say that I don't like Bleach, it's the easy way out. By me saying like I don't like Bleach, it can more or less sum up all of my emotions into 3 words, which is very simple to say, very fast. And I can just say it. And, 80% of how I feel is kind of portrayed within that statement. Now, like, it's not good for me to do, because if you take that at face value, hatred is a pretty strong word. But in reality, I don't hate Bleach. My biggest issue, how the story is being told. The inconsistencies, the loopholes, the plot armor, like all of those things is what's cheapening the story for me. It's like, yeah, I mean, I understand that the characters are cool. You like seeing the characters you like. You like seeing the bankais. You like seeing like awesome shit. You like seeing Kenpachi cut a meteor in half. You like seeing the dog guy bring out his fucking samurai Gundam and like punch shit. Like, I think it's sick too. Like, I loved that stuff. I didn't like Renji's Bankai. I thought it was stupid to have some, baboon snake.
Yeah, but like it's also
literally does nothing. Okay, but it doesn't matter, Byakuya, right? Like,
who turns his sword into fucking like petals that are sharp and can fucking control the petals. It's cool. But then you have Renji, who's like, I've got this snake baboon. Isn't this sick? And it's like,
if you like the character, obviously you like seeing that stuff and you like seeing these characters pop off. And, it's like, that's not what I don't like about Bleach. Because if you look at it at that level, like, yes, like, I think it's cool. I think it's that stuff is cool. And like getting hype is cool. And, I don't like the fucking Bankai song where Ichigo pops off. And then, when you hear the song playing, everyone knows some hype shit's going to happen.
I love that shit.
I don't like that, but I get it, right? I get being hype. But hype can only disguise the cracks in the story for so long. Unless you want to like pull that wool over your eyes consciously as like for yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a choice that you make as a viewer. For me, it's like the cracks in the story and the foundation of how it's told are too great for the hype to cover up anymore. So when I say that I don't like Bleach, that is what I'm saying. So I say I don't like Bleach to basically summarize that, 15 minutes of me talking into like 0.3 seconds.
If you had characters that were worth a shit, like, okay, you're trying to show how strong Yhwach is, and he kills all, basically, because they had to kill themselves for the Bankai. All of them at the same time, basically. And then Ichigo's just like, all right, I'm gonna fucking fight him. Like, if you give them more credence and you give them more time and there's like actual development, not just 10 minutes, I feel like you get more for the story and more about how strong Yhwach is in comparison to these people, but also how strong they are. And that's important to get like clarity on the power of these people, because you're telling a story about this, right? You're telling a story about this power.
The character development and then the attention to detail with the power scaling is what makes the story make sense.
Yeah.
Like when you don't focus, because like no one cares about Squad Zero.
Not at all.
You only really developed them for like
For them to die.
Yeah, like you didn't really develop it. Like all I know about them is you had the pink hair lady that likes to cook. You have the Yakuza guy that likes his own sens. You have the chick, which is the blacksmith, and she makes the swords. Like, I don't really care. Like, I don't really care. Like, you spent this time in like part 2 going over all of these characters, but you didn't really like develop them in such a way to me to actually connect with them or to identify with them like at all.
Mhm.
And that's why I think the harem anime character development is so important, because that's how, for me personally, that's how I identify with an anime, and that's what I gravitate to, is content and characters that I find relatable
and grow.
I do not find any of the Thousand Year Blood War characters relatable. Any of the brand new Quincy people that came out, I don't care. I don't even remember their names.
They are means to an end. They are an obstacle for our favorite characters to climb. And it's weird because if I could explain it this way, if everyone had a power scaling and like Aizen is like 100% or what we thought 100% was, Ichigo is 99, is Byakuya like 60 or is he like 95 at the end of the original Aizen arc? Or is, yeah, that's something that isn't really defined, because you don't have characters like truly pushing each other. Where like in JJK, when you have these fights, you have important moments for Nanami that he is pushing characters further in these fights and giving. I love JJK's power scaling. It stays the whole time. Like, you get it. You fucking get it. And like, there's not like a one character in the manga that eventually like he has like, it's a fucking joke, but it's like, it's in the manga and it's the whole point of his power is to be a joke. And it's fucking great. The writing is much more coherent. And that's what bugs me about Bleach. Dan to Dan. We ended the Bleach part and then we went on a fucking 15 more minutes about Bleach.
I felt like I needed to clarify about what my problem with Bleach is. Because it's not that I hate it. Like, I watched so much of it. Like, I grew up with it. I grew up with Bleach, just like how a lot of people have done as well, right?
Yeah,
like, it's not
100%.
I'm not any different from everybody else. I just think that it went on too long and they cheapened the core of the characters and the core of the story for whatever reason that they decided.
Money and titties and big old Orihime titties.
I don't hate Bleach. So when I say I don't like Bleach or even JJK, it's not that like I actually hate them.
You
I
just want them
have
to be better.
Yeah, I just
Do
have a big
better.
issue with how the stories are being told.
Okay.
Not even like the concept of what the story is, but just how we got from point A to point B. The execution is what I have a problem. Anyway, Dan to Dan, episode 3 starts off with Momo's grandma doing a psychic show. On air, live with some famous idol dude. And initially, it seems like she's getting all the answers wrong. She's like, "You're 27." He's like, "Nope, I'm 20. Your favorite dish is curry." He's like, "Nope, ramen for me." And she's just guessing wrong. And everyone is just like, "Oh, damn. Like, should we air this show?" Like, it's, yeah, it's really bad.
I think the show is called Santa Dondoria, because they have that's like a thing for her, I guess.
So we're just kind of led to believe that she's not a good fortune teller or psychic or medium.
Yeah.
She takes taxi home. Taxi guy is just like, "Hey, you're that one lady from the show." And then she's like, "Drop me off right here.
Yeah.
Drop me off, bitch." And he's like, no, I can't do that. And then, you don't want to die, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right. And he just
Okay.
skirts his taxi. And then from there, we see what Momo's grandma actually can do.
Yeah. She's tight as fuck. By the way, at this point, Okarun is still Turbo Granny and is pulling Momo by the leg and like threatening to eat her.
Yeah, banana first,
yeah. So Granny shows up and proceeds to fucking beat the brakes off of Granny Turbo, but also explains that Granny Turbo is in a trap. Or Turbo Granny. I keep saying Turbo. I'm dumb. Anyways, Turbo Granny's in a trap, can't move, and just like, you hear the bat sounds. Oh, it's fucking great. Beats up Turbo Granny, and you're like, dude, that's our boy Okarun getting fucked up in there. It jump cuts to Momo coming down the stairs.
She wakes up in her room from a slumber and then heads downstairs. And her grandma is just chilling.
Mm-hmm. Watching some TV.
Very comfortable clothes.
Very.
Smoking some cigs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all grannies do. And then she is worried because she's like, where's Okarun? Did you see a boy? And she's like, nah, I haven't seen that shit.
Also, at this point, I think this is when they're showing on TV that like that guy that said he was 20, the idol, that he's actually 27 and has 4 kids. So she's like, I'm gonna go watch some soaps or whatever. She watches like some old samurai soap or some shit.
She gets a little serious and she's like, hey, did you go to a spiritual hotspot? And Momo's like, yeah, I did. And she's like, but
I saw some UFOs.
But Okarun, did you kill it? Did you kill the spirit? And she's like, no, I don't know. I didn't do shit. I'm just a fucking fake spirit medium.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just a piece of shit.
The Greg treatment.
Yeah, you don't believe anything I say anyway.
Literally, if you ever play video games with Greg, this is what he does. You're like, damn, that was a good dungeon. Thanks for tanking that, Greg. He's like, dude, you guys didn't need me at all. You guys could have done it by yourselves. I'm just a piece of shit. I'm just a paper tank. Like shit like that all the fucking time. Okay.
Truth,
It's great. It's great.
So then she apologizes. She's like, sorry, you're not a fake spirit medium. Granny, you're pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
Where's Okarun? And she's like, just go check out back.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay. She goes to check out back. Our boy's just chilling. He's just hanging out there. Made him some onigiri. And then he's so happy to see Momo.
But he cannot go out of this room without turning into Turbo Granny.
So she has like some sort of talisman or spell going on in the shrine where he won't transform. So then they just kind of close the door on him. They're just having a conversation about UFOs, not believing in UFOs, but then believing in psychic powers. Then she kind of talks about Turbo Granny and like the history of Turbo Granny.
Yeah.
What Turbo Granny used to be called, which was 100 Kilo Granny. And she was like a yokai that terrorized like the countryside. So she's been around for a bit.
Yeah.
But then Momo was telling her about the tunnel where Turbo Granny was. And she said she went to check it out once, but wasn't able to enter because there was such strong like spiritual power.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about location-based spirits and how they stay in one spot because they have an attachment to that area. Mm-hmm. And then they're strongest when they're in their own territory. Kind of like Trundle from League of Legends.
Yeah.
You just hit your W and you get increased movement speed, increased attack speed. That's probably what Turbo Granny gets. But she said that Turbo Granny and then this bound spirit have merged into like a Turbo Granny location super powerhouse. She basically just tells Momo, like, you know, forget this shit. Forget about Okarun. Forget about psychic powers. Forget about Turbo Granny. Just go back to being a kid.
Yep.
And don't worry about it. Everyday life. And then Momo's like, no. WWKD. What would Ken do? And if Ken would help out, then I'm also going to help out.
Yeah.
So she decides that, you know what? I'm not going to run from this shit. We're going to figure this shit out together.
Yep.
And then her grandma makes fun of her because she's like, oh, you and Okarun sitting in a tree. And she's just like, shut the fuck up. She tells Momo, you got to play tag with Turbo Granny.
Yeah, that's how you're going to defeat her.
And she's like, nah, you see these chicken legs? I haven't done a leg day my entire life.
Ever.
There's no way I'm going to beat Turbo Granny. But then she lays out the plan. Basically, she says, they need to lure Turbo Granny outside of the city, which is outside of the location-based spirits territory, which will make Turbo Granny weaker. And then that's when they can fight Turbo Granny.
Or beat her in tag. One of the other things is like, she's talking about how to beat Turbo Granny. Obviously, like, if Okarun can hear it, Turbo Granny can hear it. Like,
yeah,
we're on there, right? We're on that board, we're on that train. And so when she's like, you guys gotta get to full power, like, you guys suck. How long can you hold on to Turbo Granny for? And he's like 2 seconds. And she,
yeah,
like, how long can you like do your invincible powers for? She's like, well, I only did it the one time, and like, I don't really know how it worked. I've really only been able to like do psychic stuff since then. Granny's like, you guys gotta fucking stop being such fucking wimps. And they start their training arc, start the training montage, which is just one scene, so not really a montage. They're sitting outside. But before that, sorry, I did write this note and I did want to touch on this. Okarun gets all sad and gets real with Momo. Lets Momo know, he's like, you can't, please don't leave me. Like, he's distraught. He's like Momo's his only friend. And Momo's like, hey man, for a second you were cool there. And like, just keep being cool. Okay. Keep trying. And he's like, okay. And so they have like a real moment with each other. And like, so far they've had like sparing real moments.
Yeah, like one per episode where they have a real moment and then one of them fucks it up.
Yeah, but neither of them fuck it up here.
Okarun still was just like, why you gotta be like that? But it's not as aggressive as the other moment.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, well, we see that, I guess the growth of the characters where, they are starting to get closer and closer to each other, which is nice, which I like.
Yeah. Okay. And so they start their training montage and their poop montage.
Yep. So yeah, they do the training. Momo kind of talks about how she blocks the curse. She describes it as like an aura. She describes it like she has spirit hands and she just squishes it. That's how she makes it smaller. And then her grandma says, you got to do this without your eyes open. You got to close your eyes because your vision is limiting your ultimate power. And the fact that you can feel the auras is proof that it's a tactile power, not a visual power. You're relying on your eyes. She's like, okay. And like closes her eyes. And all this time, Okarun has to poop. And then she opens them. And then he like half turns into Turbo Granny. And she's like, this shit didn't work at all. And then they're like, dude, I gotta fucking go. And then he just like runs. And then they're all like in a battle to get to the bathroom first. And for some reason, her grandma wants to watch him poop too. So they're just like, hey, yo, let's all fucking go to the bathroom together. And then they make it. Okarun's sitting there, pants to his ankles, arms around his thighs, just gripping.
Just gripping and ripping, dude. Flying by the seat of the toilet. Momo and Granny, yeah, they start having a moment.
They're talking, and then she takes her eyes off while they're talking.
She's got her hands up still.
She has her hands up, but then she can't do her power without watching him.
Yeah.
She just has her hands up there. She turns back, and Turbo Granny has just taken over the bathroom.
Also, she sees Granny starts bleeding from the nose.
Yeah, everyone's just bleeding from
and
orifices.
It all goes red. Yeah, she's bleeding from her ears too, yeah.
Yeah, and even Momo, I think, starts bleeding. Everyone's bleeding.
Yeah.
And Turbo Granny is just like, I can curse anyone. Anyone I see, I can curse. And if you don't want any people you love to get cursed, you got to come to the tunnel.
Tonight.
Behind the school, by the bike racks.
Yeah, yeah.
Be there or be square.
Yeah.
Turbo Granny passes. Momo's grandma's basically like, okay, everyone get in the ceremonial garb. And they're embarrassed. So they're just like, man, why do we got to wear this shit? And then they get on the bike and Momo's grandma's like, you have to be careful.
Specifically says, don't take off the garb. It's your protection.
And Momo's like, okay, like, I won't do anything crazy. And she's like, nah, for realsies, you got to be careful.
Yeah. Gives her a hug. And like they have a real moment that they probably haven't had in years.
And then they start to bike off. And then it cuts to them on the train.
Yeah.
They're like, why do I gotta wear this shit? Everyone's fucking staring at me.
Yeah.
And Okarun is like, no, we gotta wear it. It's supposed to protect us. And she's like, nah, fuck that. So she changes into her normal clothes. And she's just like, I can't wear that shit. I gotta be comfy. This is my outfit. And then, yeah, she's determined to be Turbo Granny because just like, oh, I think it was in episode 1 when she was on the phone with Okarun. She was basically like, it wasn't the fact that all of those kids were making fun of me. It was the fact that they were making fun of my grandma that made me mad.
Mm-hmm.
And here she was like, I'm gonna fucking beat the brakes off of Turbo Granny because she hurt my grandma.
But she changes into her outfit and she's like, this is what it says on the last. Fashion is the battle uniform for Gyaru. I don't know what that is.
It's like some slang for that style girl that she is. Kind of like an extroverted, more flamboyant girl.
All right.
Like not a reserved girl.
I'm really fucking excited for tomorrow. I'm like fucking really juiced for watching Dan. I've held myself back from reading the manga, which is like crazy right now because I like obviously I had to hate read Chain Soldier, and I literally like fell asleep recently trying to keep up with Chain Soldier. It is so boring.
Damn, that's disappointing.
I hate reading Ragnar Crimson. Because Failure Frame had to go through that. That hasn't produced a new episode recently. I think that show's just done. But I read JJK. That was amazing. I did read Solo Leveling, and this is like my experience now reading manga is like 2 I really like and like 5 that I fucking don't. And it almost makes me sad to a certain extent because like I'm reading it for free. I can't imagine in like Japan, like the sunk cost fallacy of like reading a dog shit manga and having to like take it home and then it just be a symbol of your failure on the shelf. Like who's got the first 3 volumes of fucking Failure Frame and is like, I should finish it just because I should, but yeah.
Why do you like Dan? If you can like just take one element.
So far, the style of animation, the exaggerated characters, and the storyline being as exaggerated as the characters is what gets me. Because it is comedic. It is a simple show. We are not going to solve problems most likely by outthinking them with these 2 kids. Maybe when Granny gets involved, she'll outthink a lot of things. I'm just like, I'm excited for what happens because like we got a little glimpse and it's just like, it's like crumbs, baby. Like you gotta fucking get me like with a good transformation episode where Okarun just pops the fuck off. And man, that intro, I watch it every time because it slaps. Creepy Nuts. I can't get enough of Creepy Nuts. I do listen to them pretty regularly now, but that intro is the intro of the year, 100%. And I still liked Kaiju number 8's intro a lot, but dude, that intro gets my blood pumping. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. What's your reasoning?
I agree with everything you said. All the exaggerated parts of it, I like. They have a good cadence, and this is what I mean about the story. You have the crazy exaggerated shit. But then they shift gears. They give you something serious. And then they know when to like take it away. Because like they're basically hitting all of these different story elements and they're executing it like perfectly. So yes, I like all of that.
Okay.
Deep down for me.
You're worried.
No.
Greg's scared.
I'm never scared.
Okay.
But I want Okarun to become the Ken that Momo wants. Secretly what I am like aliens cool, Turbo Granny cool, like fucking whatever, but that's what I'm hoping for.
The most important thing about Okarun is that he doesn't lose himself becoming what she wants. You can always change a little bit about yourself, and this is probably going to be what the moral of the story is.
I guess I should rephrase that. I hope that Momo's view of Ken becomes what Okarun is.
Yes, totally. 100%.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Because obviously he already is like, please don't leave me. I just need you. I need your help. Or else I'm 1, gonna be cursed forever. 2, I'm never getting my dick back. And 3, I'm gonna die to this old lady.
But then he also does cool shit. And she's like, oh damn, he just popped off. Like that was kind of hot.
Yeah, I want to see that, like him go ape shit and like totally control Turbo Granny by himself. Beat up some fucking dope looking spirit, and I'm really excited about it. And also, you don't have a Gojo in the show. Like Turbo Granny has already shown that she can overpower pretty much everybody that we've seen so far. And Granny shows up like a Gojo and like, oh, kind of aloof a little bit, but like doesn't care. about anything and shows up, beats up Turbo Granny, and then also gets beat in the situation of like they take their focus off of Turbo Granny for a second. I like that.
Yeah.
Grounding the characters and showing that nobody is above this right now, and it's important. And they also they all have to get stronger. Cool, down with that. Just pacing is great. Pacing from comedy to serious, great. This is one of the things that drew me to Demon Slayer so much, is that their pacing is like, I wouldn't even say as good as Dan to Dan's pacing right now. But we're only 3 episodes in. Like, Demon Slayer starts really, really serious, whereas this show doesn't start that serious. Demon Slayer goes hard from the beginning and then kind of eases off the gas when you meet other characters. Zenitsu and what's his name? Not Kabara. Shirtless kid, really pretty kid.
Inosuke is his name.
That's the thing with Demon Slayer, is like, I think it does it pretty well, but I think so far the Dan to Dan does it very, very, and it's very apparent with like the animators are passionate about it. The storytelling's good. The fucking voice acting, spot on. Love it. Greg, any wrapped up thoughts? What are you feeling? What are you vibing with?
I'm watching a lot of anime this season. And yeah, there's lots of good ones. There's lots of bad ones. And I think that's like the one cool thing about the ratings. I think the ratings that we kind of create versus just like the straight up number rating, because I feel like there's something can have a high score, but also I could put it in the like I don't recommend list. But then something can have like a really low score and I can be like 100% recommend. So I think it is pretty interesting, like with the anime I'm watching now, you know, obviously none of it's finished yet, but the actual series that I watch and I'm like, I personally really like this. But I can't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend this. But then there's ones that I'm just kind of like, you know what? I don't really like this. But if someone said like, hey, I want an anime that has to deal with this, I'll be like, go check this one out. Even though I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of good anime this fall season. Lots of good ones, lots of bad ones, lots of recommends, lots of don'ts.
I think this new 12 episode cadence can suck it though, because I want like as much Dan to Dan as I can possibly fucking fit in my eyeballs. And like, I had to watch 26 episodes of Ragna Crimson. Like, give me something. Like, this is like, it's so juicy. It's just oozing style.
It is good, but like that's why I almost like the 12 episode thing, because I think it's teaching us something that we've
forgotten,
is that the patience.
No, Greg, I need to binge watch shit.
Good things come. Give it time to cook. Is that the young kids say?
Yeah. Cooking.
Give these studios, give these artists, give these writers, you know, time to deliver a product that they're proud of, versus trying to be like, hey, give me more. I gotta consume. I can't control myself, so fucking cater to me.
Right. We've literally watched it with JJK, and we saw how overworking staff goes. And, you know, I hope that MAPPA caved and gave them something, better pay or something like that. Because like at the end of the day, like we are in a capitalist society for most of our countries right now. And like the people at the top are not helping the people at the bottom. And that sucks. These stories and shows are on the backs of these people that are working 12 to 15-hour days doing this incredible work that they're passionate about. And instead of like them getting the recognition that they deserve, like I understand why Gege Akutami gets all the love that he gets because he wrote the storyline of JJK. But the animators that did his manga justice also need the love that he gets. And that's why MAPPA got so big in the first place. We all watched them animate shit at like a new level that we weren't ready for. And now that we're seeing that it comes with a major price, I'm okay with 12 episodes. I'm just saying Dan to Dan's awesome and I want more.
Ideally, I would just love to sit there and just gorge on that style.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I don't mind them making me wait a little bit, you know, just teasing me.
I talked to one of my coworkers and I was like, yeah, you got to watch Dan to Dan. And he's like, oh, is the season all finished? And I was like, no, it's 2 episodes are out. And he's like, I got to wait. I'll have to binge it. And I was like, really?
Which is okay. I used to be like that too. And like, I think there's different styles for different people. It all depends on what you want.
Mhm.
Because now for me, like things have kind of shifted where I prefer watching it week by week.
Mhm.
And
Same.
one of the reasons that is the case is because I'm watching so much.
Mhm.
For me to binge like 11 animes is going to take me like forever.
Right.
At least with the weekly cadence, I know that there's one episode on X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
days. So that's when I could watch it. And then I can split up the entire chunk. So I'm not just trying to consume.
There's 8 hours of anime that you're watching a week. It's not like literally 20 straight.
I used to be like your buddy because
Yeah.
I would wait until the series was over because I would be so ravenous for the next episode
Mhm.
that I wouldn't want to wait. Give it all to me.
And Pinky says, imagine trying to binge through all of One Piece. Dude, literally, I hear stories of people that are like, okay, I dedicated every day, I would wake up and watch an episode of One Piece. That's what I did. That's how I got through it. And it took me 3.5 years. You know what I mean? And that's a terrifying prospect for me.
Because, I mean, if you binged, for example, 12 episodes, right?
Mhm.
That's not really that big of a deal. If you want to think about it, it's roughly what?
4, because episodes are 22.
Okay, so it's about 4 hours. Being able to retain 4 hours of information shouldn't really be that difficult.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if you ever went to school or college or anything, right? Like each of the classes are, you have periods. So, you know, throughout the day, the teachers kind of expect you to retain the information. Now, if you tried to binge One Piece,
I have the numbers.
okay, go ahead.
So, if you wanted to watch One Piece straight through, it would be 17.5 days of continuous view, 24/7.
And that's what I mean. Like, even if you did that, are you actually like watching it? Or after a certain point, has your brain just turned off and like you're not even retaining the information? You're just watching it to say that you're watching it, not even to enjoy it, not even to like, you know, learn about anything. You're just doing it just to say that you did it.
Right.
Which is, I think, crazy.
Yeah. So, like, to be in perspective, to give you guys like a understanding, obviously, I do a lot of video games, and Steam keeps track of all the games I play and the times I play them. Over the last month, I played 185 hours of Final Fantasy 16. Now, I might have left it on, I think, one day, so that might extend the time. But if you think I had this game on for 185 hours, I think it's a fantastic storyline. I really, really enjoyed my time playing it. And that is half of One Piece. So technically, if I wanted to do the One Piece challenge, it would take me about 2 months if I wanted to do it the way I played Final Fantasy. But there are other games that I play. You know, like a good example would be, do I still have Lost Ark on here? I do. So Lost Ark, before I quit, in the year that I played Lost Ark, I played for 2,327 hours. That is only the American server. If you counted Korea and Russia as the servers I played there, that would be probably close to 6,000 of playing Lost Ark. Now that's fucking all the boring shit, like crafting, like in that game, or life skilling, all the really cool shit of the dungeons and like the raids, but it's all the weekly shit and the daily shit of like doing daily quests and PvP and like just all this shit. Like, I could have watched One Piece, 15 times over in the time that I played Lost Ark. So it's not that daunting of a task when you put it like that, but when you actually put it in front of somebody that's like not like me and not like, I would say, like not like other gamers like me, that's a fucking mountain of time. Some people can't even find 2 hours in a week without going insane because they got so much work to do. Like, people will listen to the show while they're at work. It's just being able to fit in and consume content that you enjoy as best as you can. I think that's what all we're doing, right? That's what humans do. How do we get from point A to point B, being born and croaking in the funnest way possible? Humanity. Yay.
That's it.
That's it. Let it rip.
That's it.
All right.
We did it.
Would you like the moral of the story?
Yes.
The moral of the story is you can change for people. It's okay to change a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to change your whole entire being to just be with somebody or whatever it is. People will like you for you, but you can grow and you can learn. I know a lot of people that are very, very stubborn in their ways, and they will not change any idea of what they have, especially about like politics, stuff like that I think is incredibly important. Treating people with respect and being able to change your own opinion about things. It's good. Be open. Anyways, friends, thank you so much for tuning in to the Anime Book Club podcast. Greg, you want to thank anybody? Every episode, I ask you that.
I want to thank the Academy. I want to thank all of the artists that did hard work to the animes that we watch.
Yup.
I want to thank the writers for having these ideas come out of your brain.
Yup.
Your pieces of creativity that are either heralded as works of art or tossed into the streets like fucking the trash that it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks for putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And giving us the opportunity to consume your content, whether we liked it or not.
And if it's bad and you know it's bad, it's okay. And you want to put
it's
out
okay.
here, it's a learning experience and we're all growing and it's okay. As previously stated, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Don't forget to follow us on socials and stuff. I'm DJ Montague pretty much everywhere. Greg doesn't have any social media because he's a hermit and only watches anime.
I'm actually Demon Lord 2099 and I can't get social media.
Because you don't have a familia?
Yeah, I don't have a familia. I only have like an MP3 player that has lunch money on it.
Yeah.
For when I get hungry.
Yeah, Greg's only got an old credit card that has $20 on it.
It doesn't even have the chip. I have to swipe it.
Yeah, you have to swipe it. Yeah. You can't do the tap. You can't do that.
No tap to pay.
Yeah. Greg still listens on the original iPod for any of his music.
Yeah, and after I buy something, I require a receipt. Please give me a receipt.
Yeah. I need a receipt for everything.
Balance my checkbook.
Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!